What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. So in this video, let's talk about the difference between APS-C cameras versus full frame cameras. Let's get into the video. So APS-C size sensor cameras are 15.6 millimeters by 23.6 millimeters. And full frame sensor cameras are 36 millimeters by 24 millimeters. So in a sense, you're cropped in 1.6 times when you choose to use a APS-C size camera instead of a full frame camera. I'm using a full frame camera right now using a 16 to 35 millimeter lens, and it's sitting at about 28 millimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out the camera, still use the same lens and still use the same focal length so you can see the difference between the two. I'm not going to move the tripod or anything like that. I'm just going to strictly use a different camera and the same setting using the same lens. So you can tell that it was really cropped in. If you were trying to get a wide image using a wide lens, you'll be fine. But if you were trying to get a wide image using a cropped censored camera, you're going to struggle a little bit. You might have to compensate. You might have to back up a little bit in the room that you're in or the space that you're at and try to simulate that same look that you would get with the full frame camera. Because the difference in size of the full frame camera sensor and the APS-C size sensor, you are going to have better lighting situations in low light on a full frame camera versus an APS-C size sensor camera. The pixel amount may be the same on both cameras, but pixel sizes are going to be bigger on a full frame camera, which is going to allow more light hitting those pixels, which means that your image is going to be ultimately brighter in the long run versus on an APS-C size sensor camera. So this means when you are using a full frame camera and a nice aperture like 1.8, 2.8 if your lens allows it, you can capture a pretty decent image without having a lot of noise, a lot of that fuzzy looking noise in the background. And that's because your sensor is capturing more light, filling in all those spots where the camera typically can't read if you're using an APS-C size sensor camera. On the other hand, typically an APS-C camera is lighter than a full frame camera. If you are not wanting to carry around a heavier camera, go with the APS-C camera instead. So depth of field is going to be a lot better on a full frame camera versus a APS-C camera, and that's because you're going to get a lot more light in the background. You're going to get a lot more ability to get that blur in the background instead of an APS-C camera, which is not going to allow a lot of that light, a lot of that capability in the first place. Speaking of lenses, full frame cameras can allow full frame lenses and APS-C lenses on the camera body, but it's kind of vice versa if you're using an APS-C camera trying to use full frame lenses. Typically there's lenses that are specifically used only for APS-C cameras, but there are some exceptions out there with certain types of cameras. And last but not least is the prices for these things. Typically it's going to be cheaper to get an APS-C size sensor camera versus a full frame camera. I hope this video helps you out in deciding if you want to get a full frame camera or a APS-C camera. It's all personal preference at the very end of the day, but I just wanted to give you guys some insight on both ends. Personally, myself, I have a full frame camera and a APS-C camera, so if you're torn between the two, get both. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button because there's more videos just like this coming your way. I'm gonna peace out for now. Thanks for watching. It's been real. Keep it real. You know what it is. Deuces.